Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome. This is 4.2 if you're following along at home. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ding that bell. Ding. Okay, everybody. It's me, Coach V. This is how Congress works. All right. Members of Congress at work. So, what is the basic job of Congress? Represent the people of their state or district. I mean, that is their job. Now, is it really like that these days? Do you feel misrepresented sometimes? Yeah, sure you do. Maybe because the opposite member of the party that you voted for is actually representing you. That could be very viable. That happens all the time. But they are truly, their job is truly to represent their constituents. And the constituents would be the people who live in their district or the people who live in their state. So, in saying that, they work for you. Does it seem like it? Sometimes it just seems so far removed from that these days, but they do. So they represent the people of their state or district. So 3 ways they do this. They do lawmaking. That is what legislatures do. Okay, they create laws. So they introduce bills. They do committee work, and that's where the actual work of Congress happens. And then they vote whether to pass bills or not. And then they do casework. So they troubleshoot for their constituents who request help in dealing with the federal government. So let's say the people in North Carolina need help with something, maybe something to do with hog farming, because we are hog farmers here in North Carolina, if you don't know that, or farming in general. You go anywhere outside of a major city for like 10 miles, boom, then all of a sudden you're in farm country. You guys know that about North Carolina, right? Even though we live in Wilmington, even though you visit Raleigh and Charlotte and all those places, most of North Carolina is, I mean, it's legit hard-working labor people. Okay, so, okay, members of Congress at work again, so helping the district or state, so it protects their interests, the constituents. It gives constituents a share of the federal budget. So there's this term called pork barreling. Pork barreling is exactly what this political cartoon kind of depicts. So you have a pig, per se, okay, and you want to divide it up, you want to give it to people, blah, blah, blah. Well, pork barreling is giving to, and hopefully primarily benefiting your constituents, the people who you represent. That's a huge thing in government. So there's a lot of times where bills aren't passed because they don't benefit that particular constituent group, right? So maybe somebody from North Carolina isn't going to vote for a bill that somebody from California really wants to pass because it really doesn't benefit the constituents of North Carolina. So pork barreling is always looking after and giving to the people of that you represent. All right, terms of Congress. So each term begins January 3rd of odd-numbered years. So that just happened. So it lasts 2 years. So given a number to identify the term, I think we talked about it the other day. 117th Congress is what we're in right now. So 2 sessions. So then we have special sessions in times of crisis. So sessions are just meetings, okay? So joint session, this is when the House and the Senate meet together. This really happens almost only one time a year, and that's the State of the Union address. The State of the Union address, the President of the United States, he or she would come. You know, at this moment is President Biden. President Biden would give the State of the Union address, and the State of the Union is exactly what it says it is. The State of the Union, and the Union is all of the states together, okay? All right, Congressional Rules. This helps Congress operate. So we have the Rules Committee. So things have to be followed. You know, there's certain ways we go about voting now. So we do it electronically. We can do it by roll call. You know, you can say yay or nay or I think abstain maybe. And you know, that's known as parliamentary procedures, how it goes down in or on the floor whenever we're voting. for certain things. All right, congressional leaders. So the majority party would be the political party to which more than half of the members belong. Now, currently, the Democratic Party is the majority party in both houses. Okay? So you'll see Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Just about a month and a half ago, he's the majority leader. But January 3rd, all that changed. So Senate Majority Leader is Charles Schumer. Senate Minority Leader right now is Mitch McConnell. The House Majority Leader is Steny Hoyer. And then the House Minority Leader is Kevin McCarthy. Then we have Vice President Harris, who presides over the Senate. And when she's not there, we have the President Pro Tempore, Patrick Leahy. We talked about him. He's actually the oldest or the most senior member at this moment.
Wait.
In the Senate.
So is senior meaning like age or years? How many?
Seniority is defined by years served.
All right.
Yes. So we have the minority party as the other party. Both houses have a majority and minority leader. We just went over those. The leader of the House of Representatives is the Speaker of the House. That's Nancy Pelosi at this time, a Democrat. And then again, the leaders of the Senate, the Vice President only votes in a tie, and the President Pro Tempore is the chairperson who presides over the Senate whenever the Vice President is off doing work for the President.
What's the difference between the Speaker of the House and the House Majority Leader?
The Speaker of the House runs the floor, the entire floor.
All right.
Both parties. Says you can speak now, you can speak now. The Senate Majority Leader is just in charge of his own party.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
So Nancy Pelosi isn't like Nancy Pelosi of the House would just be the Speaker of the House, and she just dictates who speaks. Doesn't matter what party you're in. And then in the House Majority Leader, Steny Hoyer, would just be in charge of the Democrats of the House of Representatives. All right, more congressional leaders. So we have floor leaders. So these people make sure laws passed by Congress are in the best interest of their party. They speak for the parties on the issues, and they try to sway votes. So we have party whips. Okay, so these keep track of where their party members stand on issues and rounds them up for key votes. So these people would be in charge of saying pretty much, oh, we need a couple more votes. Let's go after these people. Let's see if we can swing them this way. Let's make sure that they're on board with voting with the party. Okay? And that happens quite often. These people are very important. All right, so the House Minority Whip is Steve Scalise. House Majority Whip is Jim Clyburn. Senate Minority Whip is John Thune, and then Senate Majority Whip is Richard Durbin. So whips, if you're looking for the exit ticket information, it's right there. Keep track of where their party members stand on issues and rounds them up for key votes. All right, committees. This is where the real work of Congress actually happens, okay? You might think that it's just, okay, we're all there, everybody's crowded in this giant room, we're all voting on things. That's not where the work happens, that's where the voting happens, and the debate happens. The most important things are these things called committees. So standing committees have existed for a very long time. They're permanent, all right? It's pretty easy to remember, standing, statute, permanent. But they continue their work from session to session. So most are divided into smaller subcommittees that deal with specialized issues. Then you move into select committees, and they're created to do a special job for a limited time. Then they're disbanded after the work is done. A great example of a special, select committee, there was a select committee, there's two of them that kind of, I think about. One was, there was a select committee to find out who assassinated JFK. It was called the Warren Commission. So That is one example. And then there's another example, and that was steroids in baseball. There was an actual committee created in Congress to research whether or not, or what was going on with steroid abuse in baseball. And they called people, you know, they interviewed people, all that kind of stuff. It was an interesting thing that it even, I don't know how, but it was for some reason so important that Congress ended up taking action. So those are examples of select committees. Then we have joint committees. Those include members of both houses of Congress. So a member, you know, a senator and then a House of Representatives member, a representative would both be on that. And then conference committees, they help the House and Senate agree to details of a proposed law. Those are temporary. So let's say that we have a proposed law, we want it passed, we know that it's going to have to go through the House and the Senate, and then we get a conference committee together to try to work out the details of that bill so it can become laws. Here's some examples of standing committees and select and special committees. So standing committees, you can see they exactly what you probably think they are. Okay, so just these huge names that you've heard before. Right, Budget Committee, Armed Services Committee, Rules Committee, Judiciary Committee, Veterans Affairs, and then you move down to the Senate standing committees. And you have Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions, Small Businesses and Entrepreneurship. All of these are here, and they're here to stay. People change, okay? The people who work in these committees change, but the committees stay the same. And then you have special or select and special committees, intelligence, aging, ethics, and then joint committees would be economic, printing, taxation, library, all that kind of stuff. They would be combining both House and Senate members. All right, committee assignments. So how do you work for a committee? Or do you get to choose which committee you actually work in? And the answer is yes. So these are made by party leaders based on Congress members' preferences, expertise, party loyalty, and then a huge thing called seniority. Years of service. So how long you've been in Congress. So those with the most seniority get preferred committee spots. So if you've been there for a long time, you get to work in the field that you want to work in. So longest serving members of majority party become chairpersons, and chairpersons of standing committees are the most powerful members of Congress. See this guy right here, Representative Don Young, he's from Alaska. He took office March 6th, 1973. It's 11 years before I was born. 11 years before I was born, he was in the House of Representatives. Interesting. Doesn't look that old, does he? Grow out that beard a little bit, it might be a Santa Claus.
Very true.
Yeah. But he's currently 87 years old. That's so old.
Well, he's from Alaska and they have a low population, so they probably don't have that many people running.
That's probably true. But the people of Alaska have just continuously voted him in. You get what I'm saying? He's had people come, you know, for his job, but they keep on voting him in. Must be doing a good job. Or maybe they don't care and they're just living above the, what is that thing called? Arctic Circle?
I don't know.
Come on. See, down here in the lower 48, we know nothing about Alaska.
Alaska. I live up there.
I bet he's Republican because Alaska's pretty Republican.
I can't remember. All right, benefits of Congress. Salary, $174,000 a year. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? But I guarantee you that you have personally met somebody who makes more money than this.
Yeah, probably. Doctor.
Yeah. You know, I've got a personal trainer friend that makes $200,000 a year. And these people make $174,000 a year. It's pretty low.
John, I'm done.
I mean, compared to what you think they are and how powerful they are, it's pretty low.
How much does the president make?
$400,000 a year. So the president only makes $400,000 a year. And usually what the president does is, he says, I'm going to donate my salary to and it says charity. Because they already have massive amounts of money. So what do? You get free office space, you get free trips to their home states. Let's go. You get this thing called franking privilege. Franking privilege is huge. It might not sound huge to you, but it's huge. So you send job-related mail for free. Imagine being able to send massive amounts of, I don't know, voting propaganda to people, to anybody you wanted to, for free. So you get these little postcards, right? Those little, like, you probably saw them all last year. You know, they just show up in your mailbox, and you're like, oh, okay, voter mail. I mean, this is what it is. And you know, they get to send it for free. They get to put their faces in your mailbox whenever they want. So that's kind of that's. Remember, an incumbent is a person who is already in office and they're running for re-election. They have franking privilege, and it's such a leg up. It's such an advantage over the person who is trying to get elected. Immunity in some situations, they have legal protection, mostly with the stock market. And then limitations on Congress. So you have this thing called expulsion. Obviously you get removed from Congress. It's just like being expelled from school. And then you have censure, which is a formal vote of disapproval of a legislator's conduct, where, let's say you were acting a fool, you got caught doing something you shouldn't be doing, and you might be censured. Congressional staff. So everybody, all Congresspersons, they have a personal staff. So they help with day-to-day workload. So they deal with reporters and lobbyists. Now, what are lobbyists? Lobbyists are people hired by private groups to influence government and decision makers. Name a group that would have several lobbyists in Congress at all times.
Democrat.
Well, okay, we can just say the DNC, right? But I'm talking about a group that isn't really politically out there.
The FBI.
See, the FBI would be a government agency, so no. A lobbyist.
Hippies.
What's a giant corporation that would love to sway votes?
Amazon.
Okay. Amazon, Apple, the NRA, Walmart, Coca-Cola. I mean, all of those people have lobbyists, and they're in Capitol Hill, and they are talking to these people. And they're basically saying, hey, we can give you this if you give us this. Make sure you vote this way because it's going to help the company. All that kind of stuff. That is said all the time. And the personal staff, they deal with these people. Okay? So then we have committee staff. So these are usually experts on special topics, which would be like agriculture or something like that. And then support staff, and they work in the Library of Congress where everybody's tweets ever are held. Isn't that weird?
I got all my tweets.
I don't know how to
All
do
your
it.
tweets.
I don't tweet.
So, oh my gosh, we did it. Hit me with that theme song. I'm going to shut off this video, and then I'm going to get back. I'm going to end this class.